thought, man, that whole segment about him sucking on raisins was so...
You were in a hurry, Papa Kurre and Klapow. Kurre and Klapow. No matter how your day goes, they got a fresh new show today. It's Kurre and Klapow. Whether you up north of Gardendale or down south that's Vestavia, turn up your sound and listen well, cause we got something to say to you. Kurre and Klapow, they in the know, their topics covered A to Z. So whether you drive fast or slow, just sit on back and feel the beat. Oh no! It's Kurre and Klapow.
Good morning. It is Wednesday. It's a hump day. It is December 8th. This is the Kurre and Klapow Show. Dr. Josh will join me here in a second. We get after it every Wednesday. Man, Wednesdays are killer days because I've got my AC/DC show later on tonight. It's our most listened to show at 8 o'clock later on tonight. Mainly because it's our biggest international show. AC/DC, obviously international band, and their fan club is out of Australia. It's their place. Man, we have like 40,000 people in Australia that listen every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Can I sell some Outback or something? Can I get an Outback sponsorship? Can I get something going on there? Yeah, it's an amazing show. We'll do that later on tonight. Of course, last night we had Adapt or Perish, which is a fantastic show. I listened to the whole thing. If I'm a business owner, I must listen to the show. I adapt or I die. Should have been called Adapt or Die, but based on our attitude here on this radio station, we tried to perish because when did he perish or when did he pass away? He died. Speaking of death, a couple of would-have-been birthdays today. Jim Morrison, part of the 27 Club, would have been 78 today. And a man that I have a wonderful story, and I've shared it before, and I was asked to share it again. Sam Kinison would have been 68 today. I've told you my Sam Kinison story, haven't I? He broke up
a hard story in the morning.
The good thing is that the story actually was close to the morning. So, no, it didn't start in the morning. Sam Kinison, for a lot of people who don't know who he is, you probably should know who he is. Comedian, he was one of the first super... Yeah, he passed in a drunk driving accident, of all things. He sobered up and he got killed on some highway in Henderson County in Las Vegas or something. Anyway, Party Dog, great comedian, had a very brief window, but was super successful and did movies and videos. And Jessica Hahn, he was in cahoots with her and the Playboy match. I mean, the dude was just out of control. And for a very... I wouldn't say a brief time, for about a 5 or 6 year period, man, was everywhere, was super crazy. You just pull up a Sam Kinison, it's with one N. Pull up some of his videos, they're hilarious. There's never been a comedian like him, and he just took the world by storm because he did his thing. And he just got in your face, was overweight, had a big black overcoat with the long hair and the...
That wasn't that. It was the screen.
The look you have on your face right now, if you're watching on his Facebook, is like you're disgusted.
No. He was great. Disgusted. It's Sam Kinison this early in the morning. Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah, I posted a picture, man. Just looking at it was like,
yeah.
I'll share you my Sam Kinison story this morning. It's a great story. It's amazing how many times I've. There's two celebrities, Sam Kinison and Hank Williams Jr. that broke up relationships for me. And it was just kind of one of those, you're not going to believe who I was with tonight, and I really don't care who you're with tonight. You come walking here at 6 o'clock in the morning again, I was like, yeah, but I was with so-and-so, and I was like, that was my deal with the devil. That was kind of like, well, yeah. It's like when you finally meet a celebrity, and you're just like, and you have an opportunity, you have a chance, you're kind of like,
yeah, but
it's a bucket list person.
But you usually talk about chance in a different way.
I wasn't going to.
That's what I'm saying.
But I was like, you get an opportunity to hang out with one of these up and coming celebrities for an entire night. No, and we didn't have cell phones. There was no way to get in touch.
To go home. Could have.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have a great story.
No, but at the time you would have had a relationship.
Would that relationship still be going? Probably not.
I don't know.
We got so rudely interrupted yesterday during our Why Women video, their workouts, and we're going to go back into it because you're wrong, and that's one of the rare times where I'm actually right, and I've got, because it gave me time to think about what I was saying.
Okay, so I'm open to hearing you say it again.
Okay, so we're going to get into that, and also there is a non-scientific, if you will, poll of over 35,000 rock fans who have posted their top 100 artists they want to see in the 2022 induction of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Hey, look, anytime it's 10,000 people or more, it may be non-scientific.
They did their top 100. Who do you think their number one band is right now?
35,000 people without any particular age range or anything.
Yeah, just anybody who wanted to vote.
Oh, jeez.
Motley Crue.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Now, Motley Crue's on the road. They're fixing to do this big rock thing with Poison and Def Leppard and Joan Jett. They're relevant. They've been out there a lot, but as of right now, out of 35,000 fans who got to vote on anybody they wanted to, and it went all the way down to one vote, Motley Crue was the number one band they want to see in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think Motley Crue is deserving of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I think not only I think it's important that you stay relative. I think it's important that you stay out there and continue to do what you do, even if it's hard to watch. And obviously they're on the road and they're still incredibly relevant.
Yeah. Now I was just trying to figure where I would put them. I mean, they were a hair band, but they were harder than a hair band, right? So I mean, if I think about Poison and Def Leppard in terms of the same. I mean, Poison. Wouldn't you say Poison and Def Leppard had greater fame? I mean, I don't know about revenue or whatever. No, maybe I guess Motley Crue. Motley Crue just feels like Poison, Def Leppard, and then Motley Crue's kind of over here, just slightly harder and more edgy. Less crossover appeal.
I think you look at a band and you say artistically, are they really a band? Well, like if I always think if Kiss took the makeup off and they were still Kiss. If you could take away all the novelty and the weirdness and all that stuff,
that's kind of what I'm saying. So
are you an actual rock and roll band?
Yeah.
Then I would say that Motley Crue's in that. Poison's not quite,
really?
And the fact that Poison
because Poison was Bret Michaels. I mean, is that what you mean?
And Bret Michaels did a hell of a job at doing the rock star thing and crossing over and doing the VH1 thing and doing country and stuff like that. So I'm not saying they won't get in. I just, man, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is so much different than Cooperstown or Canton in that, it's not a head scratcher for a lot of people. And obviously they have spots to fill and they can put as many people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think the more people they put in, the better it is because.
I mean, Def Leppard would go in.
Yeah. I didn't see them on this list, which was kind of amazing. And maybe it's because they're still playing. I don't know.
That's an interesting. I would have never picked Motley Crue as the top.
Yeah.
I would have picked them up there, but I never picked them top.
Yeah, we'll give you the top 20.
Because younger people can't be bothered with this.
True. We also have, we mentioned Jim Morrison, part of the 27 group, would have been 68 today. Kim Basinger. Whew, man.
She didn't do much for me.
Woo!
She just didn't.
Wasn't she with Alec Baldwin? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't they have kids together, right?
Probably.
Yeah. They were at each other's throat, right?
Yeah,
that was like
a right. That was the,
we ain't talking about that, are we?
Right, with the whole voicemail.
Man. Oh, yeah.
Remember the voicemail?
Oh, jeez. Oh, we haven't even dug that up since this whole shootings thing happened, right?
Alec Baldwin is just like,
it was ugly. I can't believe we're not even talking about that, particularly with the shooting. That'd be easy get.
Well, no.
Come on there, media.
No,
get after that.
Because I think, the shooting is like, someone died.
It's horrible, but you dig. You got to go back.
There's nothing to dig.
He's got anger managements. He's got anger issues.
I know, but no, that's not.
Oh, the voicemail was unbelievable. Oh, he called her all kinds of names and stuff.
What's so interesting about Alec Baldwin is that, he's a beloved actor. Or forget beloved. He's an amazing actor. He's hysterical. He's funny. He's a great serious actor. He's a good-looking guy. And I don't know if it's the things that he's done, interacting with the media or with the paparazzi and the Kim Basinger thing, and now this. But I was watching the Stephanopoulos interview, and obviously the pictures, far be it for me to pass judgment on how someone should respond to when they just killed somebody. Yeah. But he has this look that and maybe it's him just protecting himself. He's nervous, I can't embrace him. Yeah. I can't connect with him.
No, he's not an embraceable guy.
You know what I mean?
No, and he's played a lot of people in 30 Rock. He's played a lot of harsh characters.
Maybe that may be it. Obviously, I don't know him.
I saw the episode where he was in Friends, and he was hilarious. He's a funny guy. He doesn't seem to be the most approachable kind of guy.
Maybe that's it. Well, he's also,
A lot of celebrities aren't. But he's a funny dude. So
how old's Kim Basinger? She's 60?
She's 68.
68.
Nicki Minaj turns 39 today. Terry Hatcher.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I don't know what it is about her.
Was she on Baywatch?
I think she was. Yeah, Terry Hatch, yeah. There's a lot of people that were. I couldn't believe I saw John Hurley on there. Peterman was on. I'm like, wait a minute. What? Yeah, they had quite.
Yeah, tune in to Baywatch because you can catch all your stars before they became stars.
Terry Hatcher turns 57 today. Sammy Davis Jr. would have been 96. Wow. I loved him. I love the Candyman. Greg Allman.
70?
Told my Greg Allman story. Would have been 74 today. Flip Wilson.
I got a Flip Wilson story.
Okay.
My grandparents were friends with him.
Really?
Yes. This is terrible and good at the same time.
Flip Wilson was a small little black man. He was like a funny, he was funnier than Sammy Davis, but he had his own Flip Wilson show.
Flip Wilson show.
Geraldine. We used to watch that show all the time.
So he was friends with my grandparents. My grandparents lived in the San Fernando Valley. They moved there in the 1940s when the San Fernando Valley was like orange.
Just a valley.
Well, it was orange orchards, and there's nothing else. And then some of the movie stars started moving out there. He was the first black member, this is going to sound the wrong way, at their country club. Now, they were Jewish. So they helped start the country club, and the country club was open to everybody and anybody, but he happened to be he was one of the founding members and one of the only black families for like 20 years there. And because he was sort of a founding member with them, they were friends with him. He used to come over to their house for dinner. My grandparents, God rest their soul, they had a lot of connections. They were friends with the Sellecks, Tom Selleck. Or I told you my grandmother used to say, she'd say, Tom Selleck's, she'd call him Tommy. Tommy's cute, but his dad's much better looking.
Wow.
That's what she said, yeah. But Flip Wilson was great. I met him when I was a little kid. I don't remember, yeah. Okay.
It was so weird during that time, too, in the 60s and 70s, to be a black entertainer and have your own show.
Because it just wasn't.
It was so token.
It was him.
Yeah.
It was him and Bill Cosby.
Because there was still this feeling that they, like, despite the fact that they were incredibly talented and they could do whatever they wanted to do, it still felt like it was still white America, the white entertainment business, Hollywood as we know it, saying, we're going to allow you to have a show. And they were like, thank you. And they got up there and knocked the boots off. And now it's just a totally different thing. Candace is totally different. Phil Collin, not Phil Collins, but Phil Collin, the guitar player for Def Leppard, turns 64 today.
Oh.
And Samuel Burl Kiddison would have been 68 today. So, Sam.
Are you about to go into this?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, let's get it out of the way.
I'm a mint.
Sam was a comedian. If you go back and just pull up Sam Kinison again, it's Kinison.
Turn the volume down.
And he was a screamer, and he was hilarious, and it was unlike any comedy we had ever seen before. When you come in and do comedy,
that is true.
That is unlike anything you've ever seen before. It was just so like.
You know what it was like?
Yeah.
Not in the same way, but it was like Gallagher. Like
yeah, I mean,
he was weird.
He was a trailblazer.
Yes.
I mean, he created this. Not shock stuff. I'm not saying that, but I can't help but think that Andrew Dice Clay took stuff from Sam Kinison.
Yeah,
he was one of the few guys where it wasn't really articulate. He'd just go off, and you could tell that he was going off script on a lot of things. He was on Johnny Carson loved him.
Right.
He did a lot of drops for a radio station up in Cincinnati that I always wanted to work for. We were their competition, WEBN. And had a love affair with them, and I remember him doing all their drops, and he was so hot. I mean, it was like Eddie Murphy delirious hot.
Yeah.
Like it was like on fire. So he was coming to Louisville, and they needed someone to bring him up on stage, and he had booked the show like 6 or 7 months in advance. And I'm telling you, man, I mean, he got hot really, really fast. If you pull up some of his videos, and there's Sam Kinison fan clubs, and there's a tribute thing on there. By the way, it's really weird when you get on social media and Jim Morrison has a Facebook page and it's got the blue check mark, and I'm like, so someone's running off. Isn't it really strange when dead people have Facebook pages,
particularly
though?
Like Jim Morrison, it's not someone who's just passed away.
Yeah. I mean, Marilyn Monroe's got a Facebook. It's just bizarre. I know it's not him running it, but you want to give them props so people will follow you and stuff. And so I was at Jim. I was like, Jim Morrison, for God's sakes, on Facebook, is it? And he's on the Facebook.
Do you realize that someone like Jim Morrison, that's so interesting. Jim Morrison would have no idea what social media is or the internet.
Maybe.
No, he wouldn't.
Well, he wouldn't now because he's dead.
That's what I'm saying.
But he's on it. Yeah, he's on something.
That's what I mean. If you brought him back to life right now, he'd be like, he would have. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
And the fact that he'd been 78, that's still possible. He could be Rolling Stoning it right now.
That's what I mean.
He could be on the stage with the Doors.
Can you imagine what the Doors doing? Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
So
go ahead.
So Sam had booked a show, and he got really, really hot, and so the show sold out, and it was 14,000 people. And I was a big Sam Kinison fan. I was young. I was 22, 23 years old, and so I loved his comedy, and some of the people at the radio station were like, and some of the women obviously didn't like some of his comedic talents. And so I asked if I could bring him on stage, and there's like, sure. And so I get up there, and again, there was a guy named, I believe his name was, his last name was Ballou. I can't remember his first name. Anyway, he traveled with Sam.
Okay.
And he opened up for Sam in all of his shows. And he was funny, but he was a different type of humor, and he was perfect for Sam because you want a guy to get the audience in the mood, but you don't want to be too funny.
No.
And so I met him, and then I met Sam, and I was like starstruck because I couldn't believe Sam Kinison. He said, listen. And if you watch the videos, you'll know exactly.
Actually, that must have been interesting too because you're almost 6'5", and he's like 5'2".
He goes, and he was dropping F-bombs left and right. He's like, I do these effing shows, and I get these old coots come out there, and they're 93 years old. They sit there and they say, ladies and gentlemen, Sam Kinison. They walk off stage, and it sucks. He goes, you look like a guy that can get after it a little bit, and I had a few drinks and stuff, and he's like, get up there and knock their socks off, fire this crowd up. He goes, I want you to drop as many F-bombs as you can. That's what he said. He said, I want you to drop as many F-bombs. Now, my boss is sitting front row. My GM sitting front row, John Page Auding, God rest his soul, he's dead. A pretty clean-cut guy. Would not, if we said booger on a radio station, we get fired. He hated the word booger. For whatever reason, he hated the word booger. He was like, don't ever say, but we were told that when we first came in. Don't ever say the word. It was the most bizarre thing. And he picked his nose more than anybody there.
And that's why. There you go.
So I get up on stage. He gives me a pair of sunglasses. Put these on. I said, okay. And so I put the sunglasses on, and I get up there, and I grab the microphone, and he's
right.
And he's all, ready to go. And again, if you don't know Sam Kinison, just, Google a picture of Sam Kinison. He's hilarious. And he's waiting for me. So I get up there and I go, are you all ready to effing da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And I'm trying not even to look at my boss on the front row because he was like,
right,
looking at me like, what are you doing? What? Because they didn't really know Sam Kinison as well as I had. I had been listening to his comedy. So I get up there and, and the crowd goes crazy, and I'm dropping as many F-bombs I think I dropped like 25 in like 32 seconds, right? And I was like, let's get by. And I threw my glasses out in the crowd, and the crowd got on their feet, and they went crazy. And I said, effing Sam Kinison. He came out, he high-fived me, and he just went into his rant. It was great. It was one of the best openings I had ever done. It gives me goosebumps talking about it, but I was so like, oh my God. And even during like the first couple of jokes, my boss was like, he couldn't even laugh. He's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to catch something. So about halfway through the show, this opening act says, listen, Sam doesn't know this town, wants to get out a little bit afterwards, blah, 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 blah. Can you hook us up? I said, sure. And I wasn't sure what hooked us up meant at the time. You want strippers, coke? What do you want? I wasn't sure. And he goes, we want everything. You look like a guy that's got some resources. Do it, get everything.
Now, after this, does it count as part of your job or not part of your job? At what point does your job
end?
Well,
I was kind of like, and of course I'm thinking I'm going to be hanging. I said, he goes, you're hanging with us, right? And I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, So I call my guy who lived over in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Oh, jeez.
We didn't have cell phones, so I'm, borrowing a phone backstage. God, what would the world before we had cell phones? I beeped my guy. I called his pager. And I said, you gotta call me right back. So he calls me back. I said, listen, I need to get some stuff. Sam Kinison's with me, and I said, we're gonna do something after the show. And he's like, no problem. And so I'm living with this girl. It was a weird thing. I wasn't really living with her, but I was over to her place more than I was at my own. I was fixing to move in, and she's a super nice girl. And so I get back to her place. I left to go make the connection, and I go back at her place, and it's like, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I walk in, and she's like, hey, how was the show? And I said, man, it was great. I said, I think we're going to have a couple of visitors. I'm going to go back out. She goes, you're going to go back out? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, Sam Kinison wants to go out and do something. And she had no clue Sam Kinison. Right. She was like, who's Sam Kinison? I said,
That's hard.
Her name was Adrian. I said, Adrian. I said,
And listen, that's hard. It's one thing to say, like, I don't know, Jim Morrison's coming over.
yeah.
Eddie Murphy's, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's harder, right, when it's somebody she never heard of.
She said, what, he played the comedy club? I said, no, he played the convention center. Really? I said, yeah, it was 14,000.
Okay. You're right.
I
She's
said,
like, okay.
he's huge. I said, and
Well, he's
he wants
actually
to go out. And she goes, well, I'd really rather you not.
Yes.
You know, why don't you just come back to bed? And I said, no, I already gave him your address. He's coming over. She lived in an apartment. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And I said, just go back to bed. And I said, it'll be fine. I said, I'll see you in a few hours. And so
3 days later,
so she says, okay. So she goes back to bed. So I'm sitting there. So like 2:30 in the morning.
oh my God, he shows up. So
He shows up
why
at her.
2:30? Like,
I
what
don't
was
know.
he doing?
I don't know. I have no idea.
And
So, so he shows up. There's Sam Kinison, hair down to his ass, long black jacket, hat with his buddy, and they just come walking in. And he goes, you got the stuff? You got the stuff? You got the stuff? And I said, yeah, I got the stuff. And so I just put it out on the table. I just start
Like
pouring.
hors d'oeuvres.
I just start pouring out lines on the table, and I'm like, and he's taking a dollar bill and the whole night. Well, she walks out, and she goes, "What the hell's going on?"
Right.
And I said, "Honey."
I can see this is you. What's so funny about you is you're this mix between, or we're this mix between, like super cool party animal and Catholic altar boy, right? You got all these great, you're dropping F-bombs. Honey, I'd like you to meet Sam.
I want you to meet Sam. And he goes, oh, who's this little honey? All right. I said, this is my girlfriend, Adrian. And he puts out, he goes, hey, nice to meet you. And he goes, this is my, right-hand headline guy, blah, 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 blah. And so she looks down and she sees the stuff on the table and she's like, what the hell? And I said, we're going to party a little bit here and then we're going to go back out. I think Sam's got a car. And she's like, we're not doing this shit in my apartment.
Right.
This ain't happening. And Sam goes, what's up with the bitch? and I'm like, I'm like, I start laughing. I'm like,
about this story.
he goes, what's up with the bitch? And I'm going, And he goes, hey, honey, we're just having a good time. Only in town for one night. You can have him back in a couple hours. He's helping us out. You got a good boyfriend here. And I'm sitting there going, and she looks at me and she goes, get these guys out of here and take this stuff off my table and get it out of here. And come to bed.
Yeah. Because it's already 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
By now.
Come to bed. I didn't have to be to work till like 4:00 the next day because I did nights. I worked 7 to midnight. And I was like, it was a Saturday night, so I didn't have anything going on. And she goes, get them out of here right now. And I was like, and he looks at me and goes, you gonna let her talk to you like that, are you? He goes, you're with Sam Kinison. These are the nights you will never forget. You're gonna see her again tomorrow. He said, we need to get out. He said, I tell you what, we'll just get out of here and just come home. So she looks at me, she goes, come back to bed.
Oh, jeez.
And I said,
I can't.
I said, I can't. I said, I really can't. I said, I've set these guys up and I was planning. I said, we didn't even have to come back here.
Yeah.
I said, I could have stayed out till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
But
gotten
I
home,
came back
and I did that a lot. And I got home at 4 o'clock in the morning because I didn't get off till midnight. I was working late night gigs and bars were open 24. And she would have never known. And I said, I just was looking for a place. And I wanted to introduce them to you.
Yes, I wanted to have a nice.
You'll have this story. You can sit there and say, Sam Kinison was in your apartment.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, man. And she said, you walk out that door. You're not coming back in here. Get your stuff and get out of here.
Good for her.
And I did.
Good for
good for me. And so I walked out the door and we had a great time. And thank goodness I still had an apartment. And that was the last time I talked to her. Now, about 15 years later, I had moved here and I went to Indianapolis and I ran into her at a bar.
She pissed?
No, she was fine. I was up there to go see a basketball tournament with a friend of mine from Cincinnati, and I ran into her and I was like, Adrian? She's like, Tony, and we hugged, and she's like, man, that was crazy times. I was like, yeah, and I said, man, I'm sorry. It was like, and I understand why you had to do what you got to do, but I was just like, and we were totally cool about our drink, and it was all fun.
Did you enjoy it, or did you feel more pressured too?
Oh no, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a car, and so I wasn't driving, and we had a great time. That was my Sam Kinison story. Then He did the Wild Thing. He had a top 40 hit.
Oh,
he
that's
was hanging with
right.
Jessica Hahn, and she was crazy. And
See,
he
like
was
that's such a bizarre. I mean, again,
was-
if you look up Sam Kinison, let's just say this. I mean, he's gnome looking.
oh yeah,
I mean, he is not.
he had all these.
There's nothing. He's 5'2", overweight, bald with long
I think
hair.
he did a movie with Rodney Dangerfield. I think.
Yeah.
And then he had a top 40 hit, and then he had like 2 or 3 more albums, and then he cleaned up. He decided to become a minister, and
that's right.
he was still doing comedy, but he became a minister, and of all things, he gets killed by a drunk driver.
Right. He wasn't drunk driving.
No, he wasn't. He was sober at the time.
That's
and got killed
karma,
by a
dude.
drunk. Yeah.
That's karma.
Yeah, that was my Sam Kinison
Oh
story.
God, that makes me nauseous in the morning.
Yeah. Today is National Day of Lard.
Hmm.
There's one of your days. I don't know what we do.
You know,
with
we call that in the Jewish equivalent.
What's that?
Schmaltz.
Schmaltz.
Schmaltz is like Jewish lard.
Really?
Yeah, like whatever that. Yeah.
Okay then.
Did you guys use lard growing up?
We
like
used
Crisco?
my mom would save the fat off of all meats and stuff, and
And
that's
then
what
what
we
she
used
would
to
do
cook
with
with.
Oh.
Save it. It was on the back of the stove. You know, we'd always have big things of fat we'd use for gravy or for frying, or we
Yeah,
didn't have
that's like
Crisco
a-
or any of that stuff. If we didn't have lard, you just used the fat from other meats, and that made it taste even better. It was
Okay.
reusing stuff. Probably a depression type of thing where Jewish people use.
Well, you lived out in the sticks.
Yeah, we reused everything.
Unless,
Today is also Toilet Paper Appreciation Day. On this date in 1857, Joseph Goretti unveiled his first toilet paper. We didn't have toilet paper until
what they
1857.
use?
Leaves. Yeah, you used whatever you could. You used clothing, leaves. Cowboys used to use leaves.
No, I know, but in 1857, people lived in homes.
Toilet paper came out in
I know,
1857,
so what'd they
and it didn't
use?
come out till the roll until 1871.
So what the hell did they use? Forget the cowboys with the leaves. What did you use in your house?
I have no idea. I mean, you were out. I think you just used whatever you could.
Well, like what?
Because there wasn't people
Parchment
had
paper
houses,
for
but they didn't
cooking?
have people had houses, but only the rich people had bathrooms.
That's
You didn't have
true.
running water. You still had outhouses.
Okay.
So you go out there and you look for something to wipe your ass with before you went in.
I feel
And there was a lot more fiber back then. We're a lot more. We're so dry now. I saw a pharmaceutical company yesterday for something to loosen your stool because you were taking pills to loosen your stool because you're on pills that dry you out.
What?
And that's the problem with allergy stuff is if you take Claritin, good luck pooping for 3 days. It messes your body up, man.
Tony Curriel.
We have so many things that are drying us out, so we don't have allergies. And then if it's going to dry you out, make sure you're
take
drinking
some of those
18 gallons of
slick up-
water.
Slick up your poop.
You'll have to get an enema. You take
Relax.
Claritin D. Yeah.
Relax.
Today is also a Bodhi Day. This is the day. It's a very celebrated day in the Buddhist community. They celebrate when Buddha attained enlightenment under the
Oh.
Buddha tree, under the Bodhi tree.
Yeah, he was there for like what, 60 years or 20 years.
That
not
was
saying anything.
back in 556
Yes, this is a
BC.
big deal.
So if you're a Buddhist, this is a big day for you.
This is a big day. This is like Christmas.
It is. Yeah, it's a celebrated day.
Enlightenment, yeah. This would be no. This would be more like Easter, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because Buddha was already alive. He attained enlightenment, so this would be the equivalent of. Like, we don't have that in Judaism. Like, we don't got any of those things.
You got plenty of holidays.
No, but we don't have anybody. We don't have anybody rising or enlightened. Well, no, I guess Moses and the 10 Commandments. That's the thing. We don't have holidays for that. We just have all these characters that, the burning bush.
Yeah.
But we don't have like a day. We don't.
Create one. You can
I
put
forgot
it-
to tell you about my Hanukkah miracle.
How's that?
I ran out of candles 2 days before Hanukkah was over.
This year?
Yeah, I ran out of candles.
Uh-oh.
And Jill's like, you got to go to the store. I'm like, eh.
Do they have to be a special candle or can you use another space?
You could use anything.
Like if you run out of hosts when you're doing communion, you can use anything. It's just got to be blessed.
I got another story. Well, let me say anyway. I
Yep.
ran out of candles. Julie's like, just go to the store and they got Hanukkah candles or
Yeah.
just little candles. I'm like, oh, me lazy.
Can they have a
ass.
scent to them?
No, they're just wax candles.
Yep.
And I didn't want to go up to the store, which I live 30 seconds away.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Maybe there's going to be a Hanukkah miracle for me. So I went back upstairs in the attic to all the Christmas shit that we got up there. We have one, and I'm pawning through. I couldn't find anything in the Hanukkah box. We have one Hanukkah box, 17 Christmas boxes.
Yeah.
And I'm pawning through the Hanukkah box. There's got to be a candle here. I only got 2 more days. Come on, there's got to be a candle. Oh.
Yeah.
And plus, we don't have any, the menorah is only like this big. I can't just stick a candle.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm pawning through, and there's nothing. Nothing. There was no wax, candles, nothing in the Hanukkah box. And I was thinking, come on, God, there's got to be this. Like, this is like the perfect story. This could be a true Hanukkah miracle. And so I'm about to leave the attic, and I about to walk out, and for whatever reason, I look down, and next to where all my kids moved to college, and they just left all their boxes, there were 2 candles laying around.
Oh, nice.
And they weren't like Hanukkah candles. They were just regular candles. And I came downstairs, and I'm yelling, Julie, it's a Hanukkah miracle. There were only 5 or 6 candles, but I have found 2 more, and they've lasted, and they will last, and we will have Hanukkah. So that was that. The other thing I went to church, because I live in a blended family.
Yeah.
And they and our good friend Josiah was doing the communion. He was handing it out to people. And I don't take communion. I will go up there because in Episcopalian church you can go up there and you bow your head and you get a blessing.
Yeah.
But he's handing it out, and I guess the rule is like if there's too much wine, right? You're supposed to drink and eat. They got to finish.
You have to finish it.
They got to finish. He ran out. Oh. Not of wine, of communion wafers.
Yeah.
And there was only like 20 people there, and I was like, Jules, because I'm a Jew.
And they'll break.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so I'm like, Jules, what happens now? Like I'm always bugging. Like, what are we gonna do now? He's like the Jew there. What are we gonna do? She's like, well, and he walks over in the middle of the thing. There's like a cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tabernacle.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's where they keep the Jesus guy.
Well, it's a refrigerator. Yeah.
Yeah, they got wine and they got crackers. She's like, yeah, that's the communion cupboard. Mm-hmm. Like, so there's like lots of communion. He's like, oh, she's like, yeah, you can as much as you want. Yeah. Like, can you have it for a snack? She's like, no, you can't. You know what it's called when you dip in the wine?
What's that?
Tinkting.
Really?
Tinkting.
Tinkting. I did not know that.
Because what you don't want to do, because they do that because of COVID.
Yeah.
Instead of dipping and what are you supposed to do? Well, how do you do communion with the dipping in the Catholic?
We don't dip.
Oh, Catholics don't dip.
No, we take. I mean, I guess you could dip. But
no, that's what it is. That's what tinkting is.
Yeah.
Because instead of taking the sip of wine, right, which is going through the public, it's because of COVID. You tinked. You dip your communion wafer in the wine.
Yeah, we don't dip. We just take our communion and then the wine's off the side.
Like little cups.
Yeah, and then they just wipe the chalice, and we haven't done it since COVID. We don't do wine anymore because we're drinking from the same chalice. Although we did start the collection basket back.
Wait, they've been doing the collection basket.
We started that a couple of days ago, and I think we're actually making more money without the collection basket because we left the collection basket up near the altar.
Yeah.
And when you got your communion, that's when you're supposed to drop it off, and you're doing it in front of everybody. So a lot more people were leaving money because people wanted to see them leaving money.
So let me tell you this. Let me get into one more religious segment because again, this is the Jew's perspective as a Jewish person in church. So in temple, the way we sort of do this is we have dues. It's like membership.
Yeah.
Right, and it's adjusted. There's suggested amounts, but they don't turn anybody away. Yeah. But we don't have a past the thing. We just sign a check. So Jewish. It's a membership fee. We sign a check. We write it off. It's all great. But whenever I go to church and they pass the, what's it called?
Collection basket.
Whatever. Yeah. I feel terrible.
Why?
Because like if I don't put anything in, or like Jules like, we already gave. I already wrote a check. Yeah. Like, you got to put
it shouldn't matter. As long as you're giving, it doesn't matter.
I know, but it feels horrible because it's that whole public. Like, come on, don't you have a buck?
Yeah, I give the kids $1 and then I put my own thing in. But you should put it in the envelope. You drop in the envelope.
What's the envelope?
It's the envelope. They send you envelopes every month to make your contributions, and then they can keep track of it. They find out who you are and how much you're giving, and then you get to write it off because when you write off cash, you're supposed to. Yeah, you're supposed to tithe, and it's 10%
of what?
That's of your salary. Is what Catholicism is.
Why 10%?
It's always been 10%. I don't know where that came from, but it's always been 10%. You're supposed to tithe. Yeah. It's called tithing. Yeah, it's 10% of your salary.
Did they ever adjust it for it? Like
no, it's always 10. If everyone tithed,
y'all be stoked.
I told you in our church, if everyone would just put $0.25 in, every person, every woman, child, and man put a quarter in, we'd have more money than we'd have to do with.
That's
but then you give a lot of it away, and there's poor and this, that, and the other. So happy Bodie Day. So we were talking yesterday about gyms.
Oh, this is going to get spicy. And by the way, so I was there this morning.
Yep.
And I was really thinking, given what you said, like I was much more cognizant this morning of who was looking and myself.
Yep. Well, let's just say this, and you're talking about Lifetime and that place is more than a gym. It doesn't matter. But whenever you're in a gym, people are working out. There's fat people. There's skinny people. There's good-looking people. There's fat. There's and guys will and women too. There's guys that walk in without their shirts on. We're all looking because we're looking at people that work out and take care of their bodies. And bodies are expressively sexual and intimate and fun to look at. And wow, he's doing great. And it's
right, exactly.
And guys are like that with women. And then you throw in the workout clothing.
Yeah.
Women have the stretchy pants on. Guys are working without their shirts on. Blah blah blah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you got your Planet Fitnesses where you're supposed to just be fat and we don't judge you here and whatever, okay? You go into workout, you go in there to use a service, but it's much more than that. Yeah, I would bet that more people meet their prospective dates through gyms. And you work out buddies and you got personal trainers and we know about that, and blah, 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 blah. So there's this thing I've seen 3 times the last couple of days where women are videotaping their workouts.
Which is, I mean, that's...
If you're videotaping your workout to make sure you're doing it properly...
Yeah.
And you're using it for whatever, I get that.
Yes.
I understand that.
I've seen that.
Maybe because much like a baseball player will take a videotape of him in the box, I'm dropping my elbow or whatever. I get that.
Absolutely, yes.
Then we talk about the people that do videotape and they're posting them.
Yes, for social media. Yes.
We mentioned Rachel Barbeau does that, but that's not why she's doing it. You know, today I did 80,000 crunches, congratulations, or I deadlifted 565 pounds, I want to show you.
Yes.
But then they're posting stuff on her. So the last one I saw was this woman who was knocked down, dragged out, rocking. She had the midriff on, her boobs were hanging out, she had the really tight pants on, she worked out, had the ponytail, the whole 9 yards. So she's working out, she's videotaping, and no one knows she's videotaping. She's put her phone set up, and she goes back to look at it, and she sees this older man who's probably 65, maybe even pushing 70. You could tell he was workout guy too. He had pecs, and you could tell he's working out. He's out of breath. He looked a lot like Jeffrey Epstein, believe it or not. And so he's sitting there, and he's sitting there, and he's a good 20 feet away from her. He's kind of checking her out.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at it, it was like, look away, dude. Look away, look away, look away.
So when you're watching the video, he's not gawking, but you're he
didn't move his head.
You watching, you're getting not uncomfortable, but you're saying, dude, look away.
She never saw him looking.
Right.
And so he kept looking, and he was doing the whole, but he was working out.
Yeah.
He didn't follow her in the gym.
No,
he didn't approach her. He didn't say, wow, you look great. He didn't say anything to her. So she watches the video of this guy, and she calls him out on social media because she posts her stuff on social media, calls him a creep, and then videotapes herself going in and confronting the guy about it. And I was like, whoa. First of all, it may have been a little creepy. Maybe it looked a little too long. I don't know what his situation is. He didn't approach her. He didn't even know her name. He didn't say anything. He was just watching her.
So, but when she was recording the first time, she was not recording to catch.
No,
she just happened to be recording.
No, and this is the third time in 2 days where women have recorded something, and there was one where a guy was actually, she caught him videotaping her, which I'm totally like, that's wrong.
But again,
he had his phone down. He was acting like he was tweeting, and he was holding it down to look at her ass. That's totally off board, totally wrong.
But these women are not doing it in order to catch. They're doing it for whatever reason.
She caught it after she went back to see her lunges before she posted on, and then she obviously called him out, and it was incredibly uncomfortable. He was like, I'm sorry. I wasn't, you're attractive. I'm sorry. And I felt bad for the guy. And then people are like, you call that creep out. And I'm like, wait a minute here. You're wearing that. You're proud of your body. You're doing that. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, well, then I take it a step further. Why the hell is she posting that stuff on social media?
This is where, no.
Okay, because I can tell you right now, if you're an ugly person, and you're doing the same exact thing, your body's fine, whatever, and you're wearing the same clothing, and you're posting it, fine. But you're not getting any followers. Why does she think she's getting followers? Because she looks like that.
Yeah.
And people aren't watching the video. It's like the woman who did the paint thing. They ain't watching her to watch her art. They're watching her because she's sitting straddle with her boobs hanging out, and people were like, hey, pour the paint again. I love your breasts. Okay, there's a lot of weirdos out there that are watching. So she's going, oh, my goodness. She's not stupid enough to go, well, my YouTube channel must be doing pretty well because, look, it just went up. I can tell you why your YouTube channel went up, because guys are watching you, not for your workouts, because you're a very attractive woman, and that's okay.
Yeah, but okay.
That's okay. So if she is going to be, then she should get on social media and go, I post my videos because I hope it helps people learn how to do correct lunges.
Yes.
And if you watch it for any other reasons, shame on you, because that's what she did to this guy. She just did it because she caught him staring.
Right.
I don't think the guy, I wouldn't have looked as long as he did.
Right.
He didn't lick his lips. He wasn't you could tell he was uncomfortable doing it. He got up and walked away while she was still working out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he waited for her. He was actually working out himself.
Yep.
He was sweating. And I felt sorry for the guy, because I can't tell you how many guys walk in gyms and they're like, I was going to do backs and buys today, but she's over there, I'm doing traps and tries.
That's the whole, okay. So here's the point where I was going to make. First point, the fact that she confronted him with a camera running is wrong.
Yeah.
Come on, don't do that. Just that right there, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Two, and this is why I was asking, the fact that she happened to catch him while she was doing it is interesting, because to me, what this means is, hey, dude, you were doing something that you shouldn't have. And I'm saying you shouldn't have. You should not stare. Glance at somebody walking by. We all glance. I glance. I glance, man or woman. In other words, somebody's walking by.
Yeah.
I'm glancing at them because they're a human being. I don't put my head down.
Yeah.
But what I think is really interesting about this is you were staring and you got caught.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that guys don't stare. Doesn't mean that they don't glance.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even know. I don't even think he was cognizant of him looking at. I don't think he knew he was looking at her as long as he was.
Which is
I'll make it real simple for you. If there's a woman that you find incredibly attractive and you're like, wow, maybe it's because of what she's wearing, maybe you have this attraction to her or whatever, and you know you can look at her as long as you want without her knowing, you're going to look as long as you possibly can. We do that all the time. We look at the woman with the short skirt. We look at
sure. But that's but that's the whole point. You said if you know you can look at her as long as you can, you're not. That you are breaking a social rule. That is not appropriate in a gym. I'm not saying that people don't do it. I'm not saying that people don't do it. But that's the part to me that I don't want to defend him. Again, confronting him on video, totally different thing. But I'm not going to defend him because he just happened to he got caught.
He did.
So that's all. My point is, if you're going to be in a gym, and if you are in a gym, the gym is there for stated reason for people to exercise. And this is why, to me, the sad part is this is why a lot of people will not go to gyms, and they're afraid to go to gyms. They feel their bodies aren't, good enough, that they don't look good enough. And that's sad because it's supposed to be there for you to get healthy. But if you're in a gym, the stated reason is for you to be there to work out. Now, we know lots of gyms are meat markets and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But it does not make it, the gym is not called meat market. Oh, that would be a great idea for a gym.
Yeah. Mm.
The gym is not called meat market. And so while you may be trying to cop a glance, you are risking getting caught.
Yeah.
That's my point, is what I think is really cool about it is, too bad, but dude, you got caught staring.
The funny part about it is most people that work out, that look killer, that put a lot of time and effort in their body, they want to be acknowledged. They want to be looked at. They don't want to be gawked at. They don't want to be stalked. They don't want people staring at them.
Right.
But you work out so you look nice for other people to go, wow, you look fantastic. And so here's this guy, and he didn't do it right. He was older. And I got news for you. If this was, I don't know if she's single or not, if this was a 32-year-old guy without his shirt on looking at her, she ain't making no damn video. But because he was 65, he's an older guy, I kind of felt sorry for the guy. And then she's calling him out. He's probably married. His wife's probably going, what the hell? And it creates all kinds. But if she was someone that she found attractive, she wouldn't have said anything.
But he's
and,
not-
and don't
but he-
be posting your shit on social media and pretending that people aren't watching it for the wrong reasons. Because I got news for you. Out of 100,000 followers, 95,000 of them can't wait to see your video. I'm not a creep, but there are women who post things with their boobs hanging out and everything else. They know you know exactly what you're doing, and you know people are going to like your picture because of what you're wearing.
I think there is a middle ground there. There's a middle ground there.
There is a middle ground.
If you're an exercise expert and you're making videos to help people with lunges or whatever, and you're good looking and you have a great body, then yes, you're doing two things. One, you are offering a service, right? Sometimes it's paid, sometimes it's not, which is I'm going to show you how to do all these exercises. During the pandemic, you would have thought I was a creep.
Yeah.
Because during the pandemic, I was trying to figure out how to do more yoga stuff.
Yeah.
Well, hell, all the yoga instructors are all women.
Yeah.
They're all women. So here I am going through YouTube, women after women after women doing yoga poses, bending over things. But my goal was not to find the most attractive one. My goal was to find the right workout. But yes, they were attractive and they were doing yoga. I mean, those are the two. The two put together is okay as long as your stated goal. I don't even know what your underlying. Your stated goal is what you just said. I'm here to do exercise videos for you, the people. And yes, I've got a rocking body.
Yeah.
And guys do the same thing. Look at any social media of a dude doing training videos.
And that's the difference, because if they split places and it was some older woman who was gawking at some dude doing squats, he would have taken it as a compliment. He would have said he wouldn't have confronted her.
No threat.
Yeah.
No threat.
Well, we don't know. Hold on.
No.
We don't know.
This is absolutely. This gets back
There
to the
was
same
no
thing.
threat there either.
This comes absolutely. Why do you think these men are creeps? There is a threat factor.
First of all, the guy's not a creep.
How do you know? Stop.
Well, we don't know that he is. We don't know that he's not.
Right.
So let's stop calling this guy a creep, because she called him a creep on social media, and all of a sudden this guy's a creep, and it's all over the place. And I don't know if this guy's a minister.
She should have not called him out on social media. Here's what she should have done.
She should have gone after the next day and said, "Listen, I was videotaping. I noticed you looking at me, and I don't really appreciate that.
I do or I don't.
I don't appreciate it.
That's exactly.
I don't like being gawked.
That's exactly.
And I will tell you this, because it's human nature, and I'm not saying it's right. But if you are rocking and you're wearing the whole thing and you're squatting, you're doing all kinds of, because that's what you're doing, Judge, then maybe do it from your garage.
But what you're saying, it's not right, but then you're turning around on the backside and saying it's human nature.
It is.
Human nature is we're human. And we're evolved humans. So,
I just want women to know that when you know you look good and what you're wearing accentuates all the parts of your body you work out on.
yes.
Don't pretend that don't pretend we're supposed to treat you like some intellect walking into a room.
No, but it's
because
everybody's that. But everyone's doing that.
Yeah.
Anybody, look, you go to a gym and it's what you just said. You're going to see the whole range of people.
Yeah.
And you're actually going to see, the most interesting to me, the most interesting are people who don't have killer bodies in terms of physical and are comfortable enough that they're wearing yoga pants, or a guy, who's kind of overweight and he's trying to get healthier. He's got a sleeveless shirt and they're doing their best.
Yeah.
They're doing their best. But I do agree with you. I mean, a fitness place is where people are either are coming to get fit, and those people who are there who are fit, yes, that's why they got muscle t-shirts and there is you can do this in an appropriate way. And the appropriate way is you should not stare. Yep. Period. Now, if it's your human nature to stare, well, then you know what? Overcome your human nature.
I agree with you.
That's all.
There. Get your looks in. There's not a guy that's watching this right now that doesn't go to a gym and he goes, "Oh, I hope that blonde chick's working out today." It motivates. Sure. It motivates a lot of us.
That's great.
Sometimes when we see a good-looking woman, it makes us want to do more sets.
That's okay. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Do not stare. People don't like to be stared. I've told you, I have been, when I lived in Seattle, I was at a Gold's Gym, and there were a number of gay guys who worked out there. And which is fine. I was fine. I worked out with two of them were my workout partners. But I was in there one time, and there was a guy just checking me out the entire time. It felt so uncomfortable. And you know what? Now that I kind of think about it, just even right here, I don't even think it felt uncomfortable that he was a guy. there was this presence. Like I
you knew he was checking you out.
Yes, but the fact that I'm doing my workout and just it's somebody's watching you.
Sure.
It's one thing if they watch you do a exercise or a lift, but when they're watching you, have you ever had this where, I mean, come on, you're recognized. Have you ever had it where somebody is watching you as you walk through the store or whatever?
Sure.
Isn't it kind of uncomfortable?
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit.
And it's not even it's not that you're afraid they're going to do anything.
What I think is really interesting in the social media aspect of this is really where I thought, like, kind of pinged in my head. Okay, wait a minute. Is she posting this out? Well, why does she think she has 13, 14, 15,000 people watching this or reposting it? She can't be an idiot enough to think that she could wear that, look like that, and people aren't going to be watching it for the wrong reasons. Yet she has no problem posting that because it's out there. Well, I don't know who these people are.
Right.
And they're out there and they're reposting it. All she cares about is getting her numbers up. I went from 13 people a month ago, and now I got 13,000. Well, why do you think that is? Is it because you're doing the right crunches? No, it has nothing to do. A very small portion. That's
in social
because
media. Listen, in social media, it is a combination of seriously because you know why? We live in a world in social media now where there are a gazillion women and men who have rocking bodies, who are standing in front of the camera, right, showing their rocking bodies, who aren't giving good. I mean, it's not enough anymore.
You want to be appreciated by working out and have a good body. You want people to go, wow, she works out. She works really well. And listen, there's a million people out there. I mean, just go through your Facebook profiles. I get them every day.
That's just yours. I look at yours.
The pictures from up here.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, by the way, do you know if you do that, it makes you look better?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Brittany does that.
Oh, well, and they know exactly. And you know exactly why you're posting those pictures.
My kids told me to do that. You want the picture up here.
Yeah.
Because the camera makes you look. It's designed so you don't look. Particularly with me, I look more bald.
So, and listen, you're an attractive person. You're good looking. You got a rocking body.
Yeah.
Be proud of that. As long as someone's not stalking you or reaching out to you or, hey, you're super. I mean, again, we go back to the painting thing.
The painting thing was really cool.
The painting thing was really cool, but she knew what she was doing.
Well, but see,
there was a woman as a painting thing.
It was different because,
she was with her dweeb boyfriend who's like, pour it slower.
Did you think that in that painting thing, when it first started, like when you first started,
so this woman fills this whole thing with paint. She pours it onto this canvas and then she spins it and it makes this art. It took 22 minutes. Something my kid could have done in 30 seconds.
It was really cool.
And she's over-explaining it, and she's sitting on the floor with her legs like this, and she's got a low-cut thing. And when I first started watching it, I was into the art. I was like...
Okay, so you agree.
I was like, okay, but it was like, pour the damn paint already. I'm like, what am I doing? And then I'm thinking, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
How long did it take you? How many minutes before?
About 4 minutes before I realized what they were doing.
Yes.
And then I noticed her boobs.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, she looks pretty good. And she was very attractive.
Yeah.
And she's talking very thoughtfully. And so you want to pour the paint in it. And I'm like, okay, you've already said this 6 times.
And it wasn't over the top.
And then the guy shooting the video was probably her dweeb boyfriend. He's like, pour it slower. Pour it slower. Isn't that beautiful? And she's like telling him to shut up. She's like, shut up. Just shoot the video. I got this. And,
John
then
says,
the comments come on. Please go slower. Please pour the blue paint again. I mean, it's like, and she's reading them as they're going along. She's kind of smirking. So she knows, and it takes her 22 minutes to pour out. And I'm like, okay, this is a sex video is what it is. I'm like, come on.
But see, I can appreciate that because there's a subtlety to it.
I appreciate the subtlety to it too. It got viewed 1.3 million times.
That's why I sent it.
It wasn't
to you.
because of the art.
Well, because you think the art was cool, the way they layered the paint.
Well, that was the bonus. That was great. That was super. I was like, oh, we got a piece of art there. What were we watching this for again? Yeah, I watched the whole damn thing because I thought maybe at the end she was going to just take all of her clothes off. I was like,
and spin.
I thought maybe she was going to sit in the paint and spin around herself. I was like, okay. I just don't, I want people to be real. Mm-hmm. You know if you're hot, you know if you're rocking, you know what you're wearing, You're checking yourself out in the mirror before you
Yes.
even go into the gym.
Well,
Your workout clothes, you're making sure everything's tucked in. You look good. You're putting women who wear makeup into the gym. Okay, you want to look nice. That's great. So realize that you are rocking hot. You're blessed that you have your looks and you work really hard on your body. That's great. And people unfortunately are going to gawk, which isn't cool. There's going to be some creeps out there. But if you're putting your stuff on social media and think you're doing it because you're
So that's
logistically doing the
interesting.
perfect squat, it ain't because you're
so
doing the
this
perfect
is
squat.
interesting. All right. So I got called out.
But
on
it's,
this.
don't act like. Just don't act like. Well, I'm here just to work out. No, you're not. There could be 1% chance. You know exactly what you're doing. You know you look good. You know there's and it could have something to do with the fact that it's a 75-year-old looking at you or a 25-year-old that's looking at you. So just check it back a little bit. Just that's all I'm saying.
Did you look at her page? Why she videos tapes it? I mean, does she do instruction?
No, she just wants to show she's.
That she's
I
working
don't
out.
know. She's
Yeah, I do
working
not-
out.
I do have- I have a problem, and just as me old.
She tried to spin it into for people that are trying to do this particular exercise and don't
Okay.
get quite right. And I was like, and then I went and looked back at some of the other posts,
not
and she just posting her working out,
Okay.
and I'm kind of like, wow.
Yeah, I that to me.
And she's
that's-
got a trillion people watching her because she's wearing yoga pants while she does it. And I'm kind of like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I felt sorry for the guy, but he's,
She's still married. Do you ask?
I could imagine.
Do you ask Reddit? What?
It
like-
was, and I think it was on Facebook too. So chances
yeah,
are,
this is one of
chances
those-
are his
yeah.
wife's on it, and she's kind of like,
What do you?
Vern,
Yeah.
I saw you at the gym today.
I
You know?
mean, it's terrible. It's an unfortunate thing, but it's. I mean, it's
Well, the thing is, if he knew it was being videoed, he would
would
never
never do it,
watched
but-
or watch. But he knew he wasn't being caught, so
or he
was
thought
kinda
he
like-
wasn't. But you see what I mean?
Yeah, that's the caught.
That's karma again. Karma's a bitch.
It really is. Talk about one of our great sponsors real quick, and I want to get into this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me tell you about Vituro Health. Vituro Health is an amazing company, one of our partners, and they are there helping men beat prostate cancer and prevent prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is common, guys. 1 out of 9 men are going to develop it, particularly as you get into your 40s. You may have issues with your prostate, and it's not necessarily prostate cancer, but Vituro Health is there to, help give you advice and insights on how to treat your prostate healthy, how to live a healthy lifestyle, but also to bring new treatments to the marketplace. So there are new treatments for prostate cancer that are minimally invasive, meaning there's the negative sexual side effects. The incontinence issues are not necessarily going to be there. You may not even need to have surgery. Go to their webpage. It's VituroHealth.com. That's VituroHealth.com.
Also, our good friend Chris Creek for the Club at Lakeview. The Club at Lakeview Facebook page, the place to go, theclubatlakeview.com. You can become part of a private membership at the Club at Lakeview out in beautiful McCall, Alabama. It's 20 minutes from downtown Birmingham for as low as $100 a month. It's golf, swim, eat, repeat. They run the club like they want to run it, brother. It's not Memorial Day to Labor Day kind of thing. It's if it's warm enough, we're opening the pool. You can play golf anytime. They have a 9-hole golf course, which is fantastic. Play it twice to get an 18-hole score. They have a great lounge, a 50-foot bar. We got bowl games coming up, hoops. There's TVs all over the place. The food is fantastic. Great staff. Chris Creek's been a good friend of mine for a long period of time. I've played golf up there several times myself. Golf, swim, eat, repeat. The Club at Lakeview, the Club at Lakeview, and the Club at Lakeview.com. Check out their Facebook page. It's great. Holly Madison, you know who she is? She was the one that was married to Hugh Hefner.
Yes.
There's a brand new A&E docuseries called Secrets of Playboy.
Ooh.
That's going to be coming out, the forthcoming. And I've been in the Playboy Mansion. I
Dude,
did a
you've been
show from there.
everywhere.
There was a bunch of radio stations that got a chance to do their shows from the Playboy Mansion back in like 1994 or something.
So from
And-
here, you not Rock
No, I
99
was there. Yeah,
But Rock 99.5, what?
yeah, sent me out there and I did it from the Playboy Mansion.
That was fun. Did
and
you wear a
there's-
bathing suit?
No, but we went swimming afterwards. It was pretty much but we could do whatever we want. You could walk around the place. I didn't see anything that was like,
There are women there?
oh yeah,
Okay.
that's where they live.
Okay.
There's like 35 Playboys in there.
Did you go swimming with them?
Yeah.
Oh.
But there was a lot of other radio people there. It was a little uncomfortable just because it was
Swimming
like-
with other radio
But
people?
I didn't see any. I didn't see. I did see some drug usage. I didn't see any sex.
Right.
But I didn't go knocking on doors either. And it was a mansion. I didn't go upstairs.
But there's also radio people in the pool.
Yeah, radio people are you talk about creeps.
That's right.
Radio people would stare at that woman and not apologize for it. They just sit there and.
It's because they think they're on radio. No one's watching.
We had an engineer that worked for our radio station when I first got here, and he lived out at the transmitter. We didn't know it. He lived in the transmitter building,
He lived there?
Yeah, in midfield. And we didn't know. I don't want to say his name because he's on Facebook. Nice guy, but he's an engineer. He's weird. And they had they had to fill in the swimming pool. There was a swimming pool out at the transmitter site for some reason. I don't know if it was an old shack or an old building, and then they built the tower. But they had to fill in the swimming pool with concrete because of some of the things that were happening out there. Anyway, she's saying that the mansion was gross. Drugs were used for sex. And I'm like, and I don't know if they have to tell us things that we didn't think were happening out there, so we'll watch it. Obviously, a lot of people want to watch it just because it's a docuseries about the Playboy thing, and basically paints Hugh Hefner as this tyrant creep thing. And I'm like, what did you think? What did you think was going to happen? He lives in a house with 35 beautiful women. He's married to one. He's been married to like 4 or 5 of them. He's a dude that walks around in his bathrobe. He's 91 years old. What did you expect? And so there was this thing where if you became a Playboy, you could come and go as you please. You could wear what you want. He could give you a hard time for it. There wasn't lockdown. It wasn't prostitution, but it was the Playboy house. Anyway, I want to get into that story a little bit later on in the show. It's really interesting. And I'm kind of like, and she was in there for like 8 years. So I felt like a prisoner. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you were. But you made that deal. You're the one that said, I want to be part of this.
Interesting.
And she did it. And because of that.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see what she said in terms of, because, the whole come and go as you please. I'm just saying, you hear that a lot. Come and go as you please. But there are consequences to coming and going. And that's why a lot of people.
It's just amazing to me how many, because some women talk fluidly about how wonderful it was. We had everything we wanted. I didn't have to pay for anything.
But I've also heard other ones talk. There was a documentary. I want to say it was it Hugh Hefner? There was a documentary about Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
And like anything else, look, if you put a man and 35 beautiful women together during the 70s and 80s, it's weird, right?
Yep.
Some bad things are going to happen, and Hugh Hefner's an interesting cat, and he, he's not a Jeffrey Epstein.
What is let me ask you this: say we didn't know about this part of it, but it's a Playboy mansion. I mean, what do you think is going to be happening there?
Right.
It's a sex revolution. This guy started this magazine when he was in college. He obviously loved to see naked women. That's why he did it. He turned it into something that from a liberal standpoint, from a literal standpoint, there was great articles in it. He hired
the brand was. We talked about it. The brand was.
Yeah, but but Hugh Hefner was. I'm not saying he was beloved, but he was looked upon. His legacy was that he did something he loved to do, and he had beautiful women. For the most part, they had Playboy clubs.
Yes, that was the whole point. He made it in this weird way. He made it classy.
Yeah,
it was classy.
It was classy.
But it was naked.
Well, and it was classy too, because other magazines took it way too far. Playboy had a real staunch. We don't show that. We don't show this.
That is
interesting. It was art. It was more artistic.
Nobody. That's really interesting. Playboy had no direct competition. What I mean by that is there wasn't another Playboy that didn't go more raunchy, right?
Well,
was there? Am I missing one?
What's the other magazine?
Penthouse.
No, the one HQ or no
GQ.
No,
Esquire.
FH. I should tell you.
FHQ.
What is the other magazine? The one that now all the guys are looking at now. I forget what it is. There's another magazine that did. It's gonna drive me crazy.
Well, guys aren't looking at magazines now because you just look at porn online.
Yeah,
for free.
FMH. What? I can't believe I can't. I don't
MILFs.
know. I can't believe I don't know what the hell is the name of this magazine. Anyway, there's another popular magazine out there. It's a men's magazine, and they have the girl of the month, but there's no nudity. There's sometimes there is, but sometimes there's not. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it was considered artistic, and then of course, then other magazines just took it to.
Yes.
Just got it.
They didn't try to compete that way. They just went, we're doing.
No, and they served a purpose because guys wanted to see more. And
That's how Penthouse, right?
It was, like a lot of people would say marijuana is a gateway drug. Playboy was the gateway magazine.
Yeah.
You started off with Playboy, then you went to Penthouse, then you went to Hustler, then you went to Gallery, then you went to Jugs, then you went to...
Well, and then once you got there, it diversified.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's terrible. This is classic Kurre and Klapow the web. So if you think about it, there was Playboy, Penthouse, Hustler.
Yep.
After that, you had like a diversified portfolio, depending on what your weird interests were.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it didn't go in line of raunchiness. It just went weird.
Yep.
Did you ever have a friend who like showed you one of the weird, really raunchy magazines?
Oh yeah.
I didn't like. I was very uncomfortable.
This is going to drive me crazy that I can't come up with it.
That's because it's a word. It's a memory problem.
No, well, it should tell you that I don't read it, but I certainly have looked at a lot of different. I'm looking up men's magazines or Sports Illustrated, Motor Trend, Popular Mechanics. Oh, there's Hustler. Oh, Maxim.
Oh, Maxim. Yes.
Sorry.
Maxim was slightly right because they had to differentiate.
Maxim
themselves.
was the poor man's Playboy.
Yeah.
There wasn't nudity in it, but there was always and celebrities felt more comfortable being on Maxim because they normally weren't naked, but you could see nippage and they had wet T-shirts and stuff like that. But Maxim magazine,
I remember Maxim.
And Maxim magazine is doing quite well, as far as I know.
Playboy, what is
you could put a Maxim magazine on the back of your toilet, and you could have a date, and it'd be no big deal. Back in the 70s, you could do that with Playboy, because you were considered pretty high affluent if you were because you were well. It was a compliment to be called a Playboy. If you were a Playboy, you were the man. Bruce Wayne was a Playboy.
That's right. My stepdad had a subscription.
Yeah.
Came in the mail. It was in the black bathroom.
Yeah.
Didn't hide it. Used to read the article. My stepdad was an interesting cat because he really did. He was one of these guys who was so comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
He would, he'd look through. My mom was there.
Did you ever get any? Did you ever get any mail? Did you get the mail? My dad would always say, "Go get the mail," because my dad would get bills.
Because I was waiting.
There was a brown package that came in once, and it was to my mother, and I would open. She'd open the mail, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was Fredericks of Hollywood.
Oh yes, my mom used to get Fredericks. Yes.
Did she?
Yeah, and I don't know how. Like, why?
I don't either. But now
there was like some connection between the Sears catalog, J.C. Penney's, and yes, I remember.
Your mom was.
Fredericks was nasty. It was more nasty.
Oh, it was great.
It was more nasty than Playboy.
Oh,
other than they weren't naked.
No, they were naked in Fredericks of Hollywood.
Well, yeah, but not in the same way.
They had the braless bras.
Yes, I remember, and I remember thinking, why is this addressed to my mom?
It's because your mom was ordering from it.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, so the only way you could get anything from Fredericks of Hollywood, I know I went and found out because I'm like, well, and I took the magazine, and my mom never got it. And
had she ordered something?
I shelved the Sears magazine. I've come to find out, because you don't get Fredericks of Hollywood magazines unless you're looking to get something out of Fredericks of Hollywood.
So what did she?
I didn't ask. I didn't want to know at this point. She was 65 years old. The 2022 induction ceremony for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is not going to be till next year. And they just had the induction ceremony several weeks ago. So they put out this impromptu list, and so far 35,000 people have voted on it, on the top 100 artists that you believe should be in the 2022 class.
Okay.
I want to go through the top 20.
Okay.
I'll start with number 20. And some of these are like, wow, I can't believe they're not even in yet.
Yeah.
And these are in order of votes. Okay. Fish, Duran, Ozzy Osbourne.
I'm surprised that Duran's not in. I'm surprised that
Ozzy Osbourne as a solo artist was 18th. Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Jethro Tull. Tool. Jimmy Buffett was 14th in this list. I'm really surprised. I'm surprised. I know Jimmy will get in.
Yeah.
But he needs to get in soon.
Because he doesn't have time left.
Yeah. Rage Against the Machine. Snoop Dogg was 12th.
This is a very eclectic crowd. Because if you got Jimmy Buffett, Rage Against the Machine, and Snoop Dogg, you got a nice mix of people.
Yeah. Boston was number 10. I'm super surprised that Boston's not in. And they only had
4 albums?
4 albums, yeah. but that first album alone changed classic
life.
rock as we know it.
Changed my life.
It was something. It was Star Wars. It was the Star Wars of the musical generation. It was an album that
Why?
still is incredibly relevant.
Why
Well,
is it?
first of all, from a technical standpoint, it was something we had never heard before. I mean, we heard stuff. Schultz was doing stuff that was we had never heard on an album before.
Okay.
It was like it was space age stuff. It was so good.
Yeah.
And more than a feeling, it's got to be one of the most heard songs in the history of the world. I hear that song almost every single day somewhere. That song has got to be one of the most played songs. It's like you just hear it everywhere.
Well,
I
there's
hear it
a
at my
radio
church.
station here in town that plays it like 17 times a day.
Yeah, Styx was number 9.
Okay.
Cher was number 8.
What? No, I'm just look at the people's taste in music. It's
Oh
all-
yeah, that's what makes this list so
yeah.
good.
Celine Dion on there.
Right? She was not on here.
Okay.
Weezer was number 7.
Right.
Dolly Parton was number 6. And there's a good opportunity. They're saying that she will more than likely be inducted in next year.
Is she? I mean, she's already in the country?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just not the okay.
The Dave Matthews Band is number 5.
Weird.
Blink 182 is number 4.
Weird.
And I was kind of like,
This is a
and
weird.
again, this is 35,000 people, and I think you could only vote once. So it wasn't like they were ballot
Right.
stuff. Pat Benatar was number 2 or number 3, which Pat Benatar, just because
Is she in the Rock
what
and
she
Roll?
did, no, she's not in. These bands are not in.
Oh, not in. Oh, yeah.
These are ones they want to be inducted in 2020.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden was number 2, and Motley Crue is number 1. I could think about 4 on here that I would say.
Do you think
if
more
they're not
like-
in, they're going to get in?
Yeah. Do you think it's more their fan base that's voting? Stronger, it's a stronger fit. Of 35,000, they have 35,000 people, and is it, there's, I don't know, there's a stronger, is Bruce Springsteen in the Hall of Rock?
Yes.
Okay. It's a stronger fan base. Like I don't know, Blink 182 has got as a powerful fan base as Pat Benatar, and that's why they're there. 'Cause
Yeah,
Blink,
I
Blink
mean,
182. Like, I mean, that's
and again, you only got one vote, so the
That's what I mean.
Motley Crue got like out of 35,000, he got like 700 votes.
okay, so it's a pretty. It's a pretty even. It's
REO Speedwagon was number 22. I
Okay.
just picked out some other ones I thought were interesting. Soundgarden was number 23.
Mm-hmm.
Foreigner. See, Foreigner is one of those bands. I mean, I just looked at, if you did the blind resume, I would say they are worthy to get in. But there's something about Foreigner, I don't know why. I just don't feel
You don't like it because they went soft.
Is that what it is?
I think you don't like it. You didn't like it because they went.
They didn't stay relevant. Like they were super hot for
Yeah, well, it's like
10, 15
Loverboy.
years.
Loverboy.
They were huge, man.
Yeah, Foreigner was
the
huge.
The four
Foreigner
albums.
was. You had stickers. You had stickers of Foreigner. You had Boston. You had AC/DC. You had Black Sabbath. Well, no, you didn't. Not if you didn't have that in Foreigner. But Foreigner was there.
Yeah. By the way, Weird Al Yankovic was number 11 on this list.
He had a shtick.
He still has a shtick,
Yeah, I mean,
and has sold millions of albums.
Well,
I'm kind of like, just from a novelty, and he's the only guy that's really taken it to the
right,
level
nobody
he
else has
did.
done- yeah,
no one
that's
else has done
exactly-
it. So I'm kind of like, he
yeah,
owns that.
you know the closest thing that I've seen is Dave Grohl's Hanukkah stuff.
Yeah. The Monkees were number 26.
Yeah.
Phil Collins, solo artist, he needs to be in.
So, but Genesis is in.
Yeah, Genesis is in.
Okay.
Judas Priest, 33. Huey Lewis, The News.
I heard him this morning. I know you love Huey Lewis.
I do like Huey Lewis.
I love some
they're
of their
transparent. They
songs.
are who they are. They don't pretend to be. There was a lot of bubblegum stuff.
Yeah.
The sports album was huge. Bad Company. I'm going to be talking to Damon Johnson a little bit later on this morning here. We're going to be recording our show. Bad Company is one of those bands. I have no clue why, first of all, fans don't believe. Because there's a whole movement for Bad Company to be in the Hall of Fame. They're 43rd. Kansas, 51. Kid Rock is 52. He should not be in the Rock Hall of Fame. I love him. He's great.
No. He shouldn't. He's got a. Is Eminem in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay.
But he's on this list.
Okay.
I don't know where he fell, 63rd or something like that. And I took Rick Astley just because he was on this list, 53rd. Willie Nelson should be in the Rock and Roll
But see,
of Fame.
help me understand this. help me understand this. I know, there's a country music Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is anything, correct?
Yes.
So
Yeah, just because you're primarily like Johnny Cash, you can be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's what I mean, but you wouldn't cross over the other way. Like Judas,
no, you can't.
You can't.
Because it's the country. This is it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but it encompasses all types of music. Yes.
Right? Is it the music? Yeah. How broad do they go?
As broad as you want. I mean,
jazz?
There's gospel in there.
Gospel?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Willie Nelson should be in. He's 60. Devo.
Devo's awesome.
74th. And Devo is another one of those bands where
They'll
Listen, if you didn't have...
Well, if Duran Duran's not in.
Yeah, if you didn't have Duran and Devo are two totally different animals.
No, I know.
Yeah. But if you only had an eclectic short period of success in whatever you did, but you set a standard for everyone else...
Yeah, Devo.
Then Devo would be the beginning of a lot of those for people. And then Sammy Hagar is on this list.
As a solo artist.
He's 92nd, yeah, out of 100. I was disappointed that he was a little higher. But as a solo artist, man, he's put the time and effort in. But he's still relevant. He's still out there doing things, and
yeah.
I think eventually he'll get in.
I think Van Halen actually...
Eventually you're going to run out of bands.
When you're in as a solo artist... Do they take into account your resume if you're in a band? Right, you're in as Sammy Hagar, but the fact that he was in Van Halen that was so popular, does that take away from his? Does it take away from?
No, because he was solo artist before and he's a solo artist after.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. In other words, if Van Halen wasn't successful, would Sammy be getting in now? No. I think that, but I mean, as a solo artist, he certainly put his time and effort in. He's still relevant. He's still all over the place. He's still doing things.
Well, yeah, but he's walking his dog and playing Catalina.
Yeah, but I do think it's interesting because I think a lot of people believe that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame looks down on hair bands and heavy metal, and so they haven't put in a lot of those bands, the Megadeths. They haven't put those bands in for whatever reason. I don't know why, because when I've been to the Rock and Roll Fame, and I've been there 6 times, they encompass everything. They want to get out. They love the novelty.
It's interesting why they call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because it's not rock and roll.
Because it's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting. I mean, because is Celine Dion in?
And it's something that the Rock and Roll of Fame, they've been wanting to do this for since the late 70s. It just got built finally in Cleveland once they came up with the money for it.
Oh, right. So they got the backlog.
Yeah. The insurance commercial with Alice Cooper is hilarious, by the way.
Are the Doors in there?
Huh?
Doors in there?
Yes. Oh, yeah, the Doors are in there.
Mamas and Papas?
Mamas and Papas,
It's like Barry Manilow in there?
I don't think no.
Neil Diamond?
No.
Okay.
No, I think Neil Diamond is in it.
Barbra Streisand?
No.
Where am I going with this? Okay.
I don't have a clue. No, you're just speaking of what. No, I do think eventually, and you can go to their thing. They have the predicted bands that'll be inducted over the next 5 or 6 years. It's really interesting because once you get all the good ones, you can't go back.
What do you mean?
I mean, every year you're taking the cream of the crop, right? So you're digging deeper and deeper and deeper. You know, you're going to Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and you're going into bands.
Well, because there's the backlog.
Yeah, and you have to have. I think they do 5 or 6 a year. I don't know if there's a set number that they have to do every single year. But I want to know.
That's so interesting. Listen, so that's so interesting because they started in the 80s.
Yeah.
So you got from whatever 1900 all the is Glenn Miller. Is that considered? I mean, you know what I mean? Is big band in there?
I don't know.
Like Coltrane?
No, but I mean, like the Beatles weren't even in their first class. So I mean, because they knew they were going to be in. When you first opened up, there were like 50 bands right off the bat. Okay, these 50 are getting in.
Right.
But we can't do them all at once.
Right,
so we're going to have to space them out.
There's this you'll never end because there's the backlog.
Yeah.
You got to catch up to the backlog.
And they've caught up, and now they're going beyond. So now it's kind of like, okay, now who are we going to put in there?
All right.
And then you have your influencers, you have writers, there's posthumous entries, but it's interesting. Okay. But, you know, I think
the Knack in there?
No, and they're right behind Kaja Gugu.
You didn't like the Knack?
No.
You didn't like that album?
No, I love My Sharona, but I didn't like the whole
Good
album.
Girls Don't?
Good Girls Don't was good. Yeah, I forgot about
Did we
that.
play that here?
No, we could.
There are some knack songs.
My Sharona was
My
a
Sharona got
great rock
overplayed.
song.
I mean, it was, but it got overplayed. But Good Girls Don't.
That was and if you played the album version, it's like 6 minutes long. It's a killer song.
I know.
When I hear it, I go, it's a great song.
But see, I get a little bit over that because it got used. Here is my litmus test. With the exception, no, they don't play it. If they're playing it at weddings and bar mitzvahs,
yeah.
I mean, it's great for the band, but it's too much. Like when my Sharona made it to the bar mitzvahs,
Yeah.
it's not shook me all night long. When I hear weddings and it's too much. You don't hear Back in Black at a wedding.
Yeah.
So like if it's playing at a wedding and a bar mitzvah, we don't play it here on TKR.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, Chris Dorsey, State Farm team. I went and stopped and saw him yesterday. He's doing fantastic. He's getting ready to wrap things up for the holidays. And, of course, you'll see their State Farm commercials. They have budgets for anybody. You could be a rental. You can be a kid. You can whatever you need. If you need insurance, they will figure out a plan for you. Just because you're getting the incredible brand name of State Farm doesn't mean you're going to be paying out the nose for it. They have a plan for you. Check out State Farm, 985-7799, 985-7799. It's Chris Dorsey, State Farm team. He always wants to make sure. And I walked through yesterday, like, you want to see Mr. Doris? I was like, yeah. And so I walked in, his office is all in the back, and everybody in the place knew who I was.
Oh, cool. Well,
people I didn't even know. They're like, hello, Mr. Curry. And I'm like,
yes.
I mean, they do their homework. They got you. Hopefully you don't have any accidents, and hopefully you don't need insurance for anything. But if you do, you know you're covered with State Farm. They cover everything at Tony Curry Radio and everything in the Curry household, and I greatly appreciate them. Love them. I've been with them since 1988. Chris Dorsey, State Farm team, 205-95-7799 or John Hawkins Parkway. Stop down there at the store, knock on the door. They'll let you in. Talk about another one of our great sponsors. Don't forget, later on tonight, Live Wire Wednesday. It's a full hour of AC/DC from 8 until 9 o'clock, brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828.
Tell you about Woodhouse Day Spa. This is the time we're running out of time before Christmas, and you're scrambling, and you're going, and you're looking at all kinds of stuff to get. And what you should be giving people, either or for yourself, is the gift of self-care. Woodhouse Day Spa, located up the Summit, 905-7676. Manicures, pedicures, facials, massages, but probably more importantly, it is like stepping into a resort. They've got 5,000 square feet.
5,000?
5,000. They got a relaxation room that is unbelievable. They give you robes. They give you slippers. They make you feel pampered so that when you're in there and you're getting your services and you come out, you feel transformed. Call them today, 905-7676, or go to their webpage where they're having great specials right now, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Tony Curry Radio, your home for Curry and Klapow in the mornings. Classic rock to the bone. You can hear the Curry and Klapow show live 7:30 to 9:30 if you're listening to us on the Tony Curry Radio app, like a bunch of you are right now. You can watch us on Facebook Live. By the way, we see all your comments and the stuff that's coming down. We don't respond to it because, quite frankly, the screen's not big enough to read. We're just using a cell phone, but we'll have it up on our TV screen so we can talk back to you, and we greatly appreciate everyone checking into Facebook. What? You're turning me sideways. Anyway, and then, of course, you can hear us again later on tonight from 6 until 8 right here on Tony Curry Radio. We'll do Live Wire Wednesday. Austin Hanks, talked to him last night. He's getting ready for his Blues Almighty show going on tomorrow night from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock, and then the Damon Johnson show, which is a fantastic show that will air on Friday night from 8 until 9 o'clock. We're doing his top 6 trios, rock and roll trios. Nirvana's in there. You got Cream. You got...
Awesome.
I mean, there's so many bands. The Jimi Hendrix Experience was a trio. You've got Triumph, you got Rush, you got the Police. I mean, it goes on and on and on. He does his top 6 coming up on Friday night. It's one of my favorite shows because I co-host it with him, and I absolutely love talking to him every single week. We're also going to be doing his favorite rock Christmas songs probably over the next couple of weeks. So this will be that may air next Friday. So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be good stuff. So check it out. Cool. And again, go to any of our pages, like our pages on Facebook, on the Tony Curry Radio page on Facebook, and also on Twitter, as well as Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn as well. So, this Playboy, Secrets of Playboy docuseries is coming out, and Hugh Hefner died. He was 91. I guess he died a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that anyone is pretending that they didn't know what was going on at the mansion. We like to think about the crazy stories that we hear, and obviously when you have a bunch of beautiful women, and half of them seem like they were married to him, and they treated him like a grandpa, but he was also sleeping with a bunch of them. probably one of the most famous, Holly Madison, who I believe she was married to Hugh Hefner, has come out and she's part of this. And she said, I felt like I was in a cycle of gross things and didn't know what to do. Holly Madison, a former Playboy pinup and ex-girlfriend. She was an ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
In a preview for the 10-hour exploration into the once heralded Playboy empire set to debut coming up here on January 24th, Madison, 41, unveils the mental and emotional anguish she endured as a playmate from 2001-2008 at the hands of Hefner, who died of sepsis in 2017 at the age of 91. So I got to the point where I kind of broke under the pressure and being made to feel like I needed to look exactly like everybody else. She, of course, starred as one of Hef's 3 voluptuous lover girls on E's reality series, The Girls Next Door. She said at one point, in order to look differently, she chopped off her lengthy golden locks as a confidence boost, and Hugh hated it, got really angry about it. I came back with short hair, and he flipped out. He was screaming at me and he said I looked old, hard, and cheap.
Jeez.
And she said he would be very abrasive in a way. He said once she came down with red lipstick, he didn't like red lipstick and told me to take it off.
Sounds like an old.
It was very frustrating to live with every single day, all the drama that was going on, the tension. I could definitely see that a lot of the girls were getting depressed and sad, and so a lot of people could see the demeanor of the girls starting to change. Some of the girls were just like happy to be there.
Right.
Couldn't believe they were living in Hugh Hefner there in the Playboy mansion. It was.
It's not a good fit for everybody.
No. And the old thing is, you leave. Well,
You
you can leave, but a lot of
Then
girls
you're-
couldn't leave
Well,
because they were trapped.
Well, yeah, you can leave, but then you're the one who left.
Yeah. Madison, who ultimately deemed her affiliation with Playboy as a dangerous choice, wasn't the only playmate to experience Hefner's sinister side. Hef pretended that he wasn't involved in any hard drugs at the mansion,
Okay.
but that was just a lie.
Okay.
She said that Quaaludes down the line were used for sex,
Oh, him and Bill.
noting the lovely sensation the hypnotic sedative induces. Usually you just took a half a Quaalude, but if you took 2, you'd pass out. She said there was such a seduction, and men knew they could get girls to do just about anything they wanted if they gave them a Quaalude.
That's Bill Cosby.
Yeah. This is not a ringing endorsement for Quaaludes, but it's a 70s drug that I thought was gone like years ago. Quaaludes were called leg spreaders. They were a necessary evil, if you will, to partying at the Playboy Mansion.
Well, because it was Hugh.
Yeah. Executive staffers would secure prescriptions for medications in order to maintain a steady flow of drugs into their lair of lust. We'd have prescriptions in some of our names. There was Lisa's Q, H's Q, or Sandra's Q.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Enabled 4 or 5, sometimes 5 prescriptions for the same medication to feed the machine.
Wow.
It will unearth sexual assaults, drug abuse, prostitution, suicide, and murder.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
The Secrets of Playboy show will also unearth
Unearth. Okay.
sexual assaults, drug abuse, prostitution,
yep.
suicide, murder that for 6 decades.
See, so that's why people want to watch.
Oh, no, I mean,
Because I think that's the thing. Listen, like you said, the setup is such that it's not surprising that, let's just say, sex and drugs.
Yep.
But like the process is fascinating. It's terrible, but it's fascinating. So it wasn't just Hugh having sex with a bunch of women.
Yeah.
Now there's prescription drugs, and there's sexual assault, and there's Hugh's demeanor, and there's maybe suicide. So I guess my point is, while you might have anticipated that there's probably sex going on, it's now peeling back the layers and saying, I think it's important, saying, no, it wasn't just a love fest. It was some really bad things.
It couldn't have been a love fest because we're talking about women sleeping with an 80-year-old guy. Okay, I mean, listen, I know there's some girls like sugar daddies, but it's just amazing to me. And listen, I'm not saying I wouldn't do the same thing. You make a deal with the devil, right? This goes on in business all the time.
Right.
Where, and Sharon Glass, who was Cagney and Lacey, she just wrote a tell-all book. She's been all over the place. She was on MRN yesterday or NPR. And She was talking about how she had to have a particular look. She was very attractive. She had to stay thin, and that's just the way it was. If you want to be in acting, you got to be thin. And it wasn't healthy for her. She didn't like it, but she said that's the way it was. It's not like that now. She said, but that's the way it was, and that's what I did, and I don't harbor any ill will towards my producers and people in TV land for that. Then she talks about having to gain 40 pounds for a particular role that she wished she had never done because she could never take it off. And her husband didn't know that she was gaining weight. He was gone for a month, came back, and she was 40 pounds heavier. He was like, what the hell? What are you doing?
It's acting.
So you make these deals with the devil. If you want to be a Playboy playmate, then you're going to be on the front page of a magazine with, publication numbers of 10, 15 million.
I know where
and you're going to be famous.
Yes.
But
what?
Part of the deal is, you're welcome to come to the Playboy Mansion, and this is where you live, and this is what you do, and
the line, right? So it's all
yeah.
good
And so they make that deal, and because a lot of these girls,
but that's the same with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying I wouldn't do the same thing.
But there's a line. There's two lines there.
What we're realizing is girls did this. They hated it for 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
Right.
Not all of them, but most of them did.
Yes.
They're like, and then they find themselves, and at the age of 41, she's like, what the hell was I thinking?
Right.
But then I can make the argument, well, guess what? I don't know anybody would have known Holly Madison's name had you not done that. So that's the deal, the devil you make. And it's unfortunate. It's really sad.
But there's levels of it. So number one level is
you know what this is? It's American Idol.
Well, with Quaaludes.
No, but at a much different level. But I've heard.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah.
You didn't want to win American Idol. You wanted to come in second.
Right, yes, exactly.
Because they go, okay, if you're going to win this, we've created you. We're putting you on stage in front of millions of people, the number one show. But if you do this, you're signing your life away. Or this is the band that gets the $1 million advance. Okay, we'll give you $1 million. But this is what you're going to do for us, and you sign that contract. This is the Robert Johnson in the middle of Crossroads. Okay, you want to be a great guitar player, then this is what you're going to do for me. And you're going to be beloved, you're going to be famous. That's the price you pay. I'm not saying you should do that or you have to do that, but that's the deal people make.
But there's still a difference. There's difference. One is, the first level is, I'm Hugh Hefner. You don't have to live here, but if you choose to live here, your career will be better. Okay, that's number one.
Very good.
And if you leave, I'm not even gonna blackball you, but it will be better you living here. Mm-hmm. So that's the first one.
Yes, that's how it starts.
Which is that's a difficult enough decision in and of itself.
Yes. Here's
where though, then it gets to me where it crosses the line. If you live here, which you don't have to, but if you do and your thing will be better. By the way, we like for everybody to partake in Quaaludes.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
Yeah.
But by the way, it's important that you please me. Not forcing you in any way. Those are the levels where you are trapped. And you are trapped. It's not just a decision about your career. It's a decision potentially about your health and your life. This is Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein, powerful man. If you meet him and befriend him, your career will be great, right? And so how many times have, and this is, what is not right is, as soon as it crosses over to drugs, sex, those kinds of things, it's not right. But how many times in business have any of us gone, we know who that person is. We know they can help us with our career. They're not asking us to do anything illegal, anything immoral, nothing, but they're kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
And they're kind of sketchy. Not illegal, but they're just not the thing. And we're doing this. We're going, I know, but it will help my career. I think the part that gets really dicey, and you see this in business, and you see, I don't know where I'm going, this is hell south. Richard Scrushy. I've got a great idea.
It's a great analogy.
I'm going to change the way we do rehab.
Now I cook my books.
It's amazing, which it is. If you think about the Health South model, I know I just made a pivot from sex, but if you think about the Health South model on paper, it was amazing. It was, we're going to grab them in the emergency room, and that's what I'm saying. We're going to meet them in the emergency room when the first injury, and instead of having people shipped all over from different places, we're going to provide from the emergency room trauma all the way through till they get healthy with all the services.
Yeah.
And it had never been done before. And people are like, that's great. And Wall Street, oh my God. And then you're right. And then it's like, well, we're going to do all that, but you know what? I need you to the books to look like this. It's really where our revenue's coming, but
you want to keep your job? Well, you want to make your salary?
Well, and without mentioning names, I know people. I know people.
I do too.
I know people who went to jail, and I know people who got out before they went to jail.
I do too.
But that is one of those ones where what's not right is not Richard Scrushy's idea about it. What's not right is Richard Scrushy's beginning of health. It's what brought all these people together. It's what brought the Playboy. I cannot believe I'm making this analogy. It's what brought the Playboy models to the mansion. It's where you cross the social norms, drugs, illegal books, sex, those kinds of things that to me, you shouldn't have to be in a position where you say you knew what you were getting into.
Yeah.
That's the part I just don't.
Can you imagine? I mean, and I don't know how many women. Like again, I did a show from there one time, and I saw women, but they knew we were doing a show there so I'm sure there was more women there than there normally is. But I mean, if you're taking Quaaludes, I've never taken one, although it sounds like it might be kind of fun if you find that right person. You just want to have some fun with it. If it's making you do things you don't normally want to do, or it's raising your libido, and he's popping these things, and he's wanting to get it, and I don't know how often he had sex. It makes it sound like he had pretty sensational appetite for sex, that he wanted it every single day. Who's going to be the one to take care of you today?
Right.
You know, and it's almost like you don't want to be good because you don't want him to want you again. I mean, I can imagine
that's Jeffrey Epstein.
That is just so sketchy and scary to think you're getting out of bed. Okay, am I the one that's going to have to sleep with this 82-year-old today?
This is the Epstein thing.
But I have this wonderful bedroom, and I have all the money I need, and I get all the things I'm taking care of, and it's kind of like, and at some point, you're kind of like, and only because he's dead now, and it's. I don't even know what the mansion is anymore. I don't even know if it's still open. It's still there. I don't know if someone bought it.
Or like a hotel, restaurant, Airbnb.
That would be a great branding. That would be a great to live to rent out the Playboy Mansion.
Maybe they turn it into apartments and condos, like Margaritaville.
It's a huge place. It's huge.
When you were in the water, were you in the water like with? I have this.
No, the swimming pool. They had a 3-deck swimming pool. It was unbelievable.
But I have this vision of like you. And all the Playboy bunnies, but then like
I didn't talk to anybody.
No, but then all these other like radio, I don't know why I think men, radio hairy, out of shape men, all in the same pool, kind of like the YMCA.
I think there were only 5 of us.
So it wasn't like 30 radios.
No, we did like 5 at a time, and there was always that one guy that, and we didn't have phones, thank God, we didn't have video, but there were people that were videoed things, and you could pretty much do whatever. There were some off-limit places. But like there was constant drinks. It was 24 hours a day.
You were there for 5 days?
No, I was only there for one day.
Okay.
I was there for 24 hours. But I mean, it was 24 hours a day. There were doors opening and closing 24 hours a day.
Did you stay overnight?
Yeah. Well, we didn't sleep.
But
we were up the entire time.
But was there a room offered to you if you wanted?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was like kind of like a hotel-ish?
Yeah.
Or like staying to somebody's
like a bed
house?
Breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how many rooms were in the place, but you got a lot of people living there. It's the whole.
They have served breakfast in the morning.
I mean, listen, Hugh pulled it off. It's a good thing that he didn't start this business now because it would never fly. And the thing is, we look at Hugh as like a self-made man.
Yes.
Again, that created this, creepy rag, in college because he liked women, and the fact that it took us, and that was the beginning of the sex revolution. I mean, a lot of people credit him.
Yes.
For becoming less taboo and appreciating sex and what it is and the fact that we talk about it and everything else. And like every great idea, someone took it and ran with it in the wrong direction. Now it's, it's turned into, Playboy just, when Playboy decided they weren't going to show breast anymore, I'm like.
It's interesting. There was no junior Hugh, like a football, like they never passed the torch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a Hugh Jr.
The whole thing is just super creepy. It doesn't. The show does not surprise me at all. There's going to be nothing in there that surprises
Well,
me.
no, because you know why?
But as a person that's never been tempted that much,
Right.
I've been tempted by the devil, but not that much. Where someone says, "I will give you $1 million if you do this for me," I'm thinking,
Right.
okay, because really it was kind of open ended. I mean,
Yeah.
you knew he was going to die off eventually. He died when he was 91, just 4 years ago. People were probably praying for his death.
Yeah.
And his A's gone. When's he going to go?
So right.
But then again, I don't know. I don't know contractually if the girls, and this is the part that I want to see. Contractually speaking, it was an open door policy, so you could stay as long as you wanted. There were new girls coming in, and you were kind of, nurturing them. This is
Yeah.
how Hugh likes things. I don't know if they were on were you getting paid? Can you stay forever?
Well, no, because
were you
at
there
some
for
point-
8 years, then you're gone? Can you be a girlfriend? I mean, and obviously he had multiple girlfriends, but the whole thing is just creepy as hell.
Well, the reason that was, like you said, is the reason you couldn't do. We've seen all of that kind of thing happen in different bits and pieces. If you put Bill Cosby's and Jeffrey Epstein's,
He had a great life. I'm not saying it's the life I want, but the fact that he created a titty magazine in college and then turned it into a fortune, had 35 blonde bombshells doing quaaludes and then died off before he could get hammered for it is like, that is
true.
That is
No, but that is true that he died off before. Jeffrey Epstein.
because if he was still alive, I have a feeling that
Oh yeah, he'd be.
people be going after him. I mean, it just says prostitution, murder. There was all kinds of things happening in that house that we didn't know about. He got out just in time.
Yeah.
The Bill Cosby's going down, America's father.
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner.
Oh, Hugh Hefner would have gone
the
down.
creepy grandpa's going down too.
Well, why did he not go down before?
It's a great question.
You know what I mean? Because
he
it
just
wasn't-
died 2017. It's not
That's
that
what I'm
long
saying.
ago.
It's not like it, was this big secret until.
There's probably some non-disclosure that
Yeah.
women got to sign that when you go in there, we don't talk about these things.
Very
And there were a lot of things that we couldn't take pictures of. I don't even know if I have any of those pictures left. But it's a fraternity, man. It's a close-knit fraternity. It was kind of crazy. All right, talk about one of our great sponsors, and we'll do some more classic rock. Make sure you download the Tony Curry Radio app if you're watching on Facebook. If you're listening on your PC, make sure you like all of our pages and get after it and download that Tony Curry Radio app. Live Wire Wednesday later on tonight, brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing for all your staffing needs. Oh,
There's a
we're
Jaws
watching
attack
Baywatch,
there.
and there's no.
No,
he's
it's
spotting a
Jaws
shark.
attack.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Southern Precision Staffing for all your staffing needs. Kai Greger does a wonderful job. A great guy, runs a great business. 205-682-2828. 205-682-2828. It's a fantastic business for all your staffing needs, construction or otherwise. Check it out. It's wonderful, and they're right here in Hoover, Alabama. But they serve the United States of America, and they're here for you. And we love their partnership for Live Wire Wednesday later on tonight, 8 o'clock. Talk about another one of our great sponsors.
Let me tell you about John Gray, Driscoll Gray. We got a meeting with John actually this week. You need to have your finances managed by someone who knows what they're doing and somebody that's not just looking at your investments. They're looking at your taxes. They're looking at your debt. They're looking at your savings. They're looking at where you are in your life. Maybe you're going through a new relationship. Maybe your kids are going to go off to school. Maybe you're retiring. All that. This is what John Gray does. He looks at the whole picture, and he's been working with me for over 10 years. All of his clients will say the same thing to you. John cares about your overall financial and personal situation, and he's there to help you. Go to his webpage today, driscollgray.com. Get his market insights. Again, it's John Gray at driscollgray.com.